Hi, this is Cindy Fodor with Stamp the Love. I am doing a video today to show you a really fun technique. I think it's called no line. It's typically called no line watercolor, but I'm doing no line alcohol markers. So I'm going to be using our Celebrate Sunflower stamp set, and I have used the dies not in this card, but some of the cards that I'm going to show you. So stay with me to the end. After I show you this technique, I will bring this card back on screen that I was showing you at the beginning, and then I'll show you a couple other ideas I did with this set. I had so much fun, it was hard to stop, but I want to go on to another set. So I love this technique. It takes a little bit of time, but I think you'll agree that it's totally stunning and looks so realistic. So let's get started. Like I said, I'm using the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set, and I'm using this large stamp, and I'm going to stamp it with our Bumblebee, new Bumblebee in color ink. And since it's a large stamp, I usually let them lay down and then tap the ink over top of it. And I want this sort of centered. I'm actually going to, when I'm finished, I'm going to die cut it with the rectangle framelets, the stitch framelets, and because I don't want it cut out, and you'll see why I don't want to cut this out. All right, so there's our base, and now I'm going to start coloring, and I colored from lightest to darkest. So I'm going to start with So Saffron, and I think I'm going to use the darkest color here, probably for most of it. So I'm going to just add this to the front here, but I'm not coloring every spot. I want a little bit of white highlights in it. So I'm not going to do a lot of blending here for this part. I may come back later and, when I did this card, I kept coming back and adding more. So this is sort of you feel really artsy-fartsy when you're doing this. And I'm not an artist, but when I use blends, it makes me feel like I'm one. Isn't there an ad like that or something? When I do this, I feel like one. I can't remember what it's about. But anyways. So I'm just doing mostly the front petals, because the backer ones are going to be shaded, so they are going to be a little darker. So I'm just getting most of these, and I definitely want to get down here because it's going to get really dark around this area, and that's where I spent a lot of time adding to it. And next I'm going to go with Daffodil Delight. I think I'm going to start with the dark. I'll see how dark that gets and see. Yeah, I think I like that. Oops. I should have brought my white color lifter. For making mistakes when you're on screen, it's even harder to. And this one I pretty much filled in everything in the background, because I'm still going to come in and probably add darker color then. Maybe not. Like I said, I did do this card already, but I don't know. It's just because you come in so many times and add so much different stuff, it's going to look different each time. So it's probably not going to look exactly like I did it before. And I'm going to just bring in a little bit of darker color here now in the front. Notice I'm turning my paper and not my hand. To color better, you want to keep your hand in the most comfortable position for coloring, and then just move the paper with you. All right, yeah, it's looking pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to come in here and, like I said, add a little more color in here. I don't want to make it look sloppy, but You'll see why it really doesn't matter what I do here, because when we come in and add the brown, that's going to be the defining element to our, oh, I missed one there, to our flower petals. That looks terrible. Oh well. Can't get everything right, right? Okay. All right, I think I like that. I am going to go ahead and do the center, and then I'll come back possibly and add some mango melody just to make it pop a little bit more. So I'm going to start with the lightest color of crumb cake, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this whole thing. And I'm starting with this only because when I started with the dark, it was so stark that it was almost scary. It almost scared me. I thought I ruined everything. But you'll see that I need lots of dark in here to really make this look well. Okay, so that doesn't do too much. So I'm going to come in with my dark. And I'm going to start at the edges because I want the edges to be the darkest. And you notice that the edge of this center and the edge of any sunflowers are very, they're not exactly circular. So it's okay to just sort of wiggle it as you go. And I'm going to just keep filling in till I have most of it filled in. You're going to see that the center gets, excuse me, a little darker because of the yellow that's there, and that's okay. And I found that I had to let this dry and then come back and add more color to it. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit. This is the bronze color, which it comes by itself. It doesn't have a light and a dark. I hope we still carry this. I can't remember now. I'm pretty sure we do. So I'm going to come in and give that around the edges here. And then I'm just going to start doing sort of a spotted look. And that's going to fill in. I actually like to do the spotted look with this one rather than that big one. I'm just trying to get this to be a little darker. All right, while I have this tip, I'm going to start adding my highlights. And so I sort of want to just bring these edges into where the petals are meeting here. So I'm just sort of going back over that edge till I get to where I want to just bring that petal. This is just clarifying the edges of the petal a little bit. All right, now I'm going to come back to my dark crumb cake again, and I'm going to come back over here, and you'll see how, isn't that weird how that lays more color down now that it's a little bit drier. And I'm going to come back over this again. Once again, that end doesn't want to come off. I do want to really get some dots in here because you want to be able to see some of the seeds. Doesn't that look horrible? I'm going to say that it's not going to look like that when we're done, but I'm hoping it's not going to look like that when we're done. I'm just going to go over this yellow part again with the light crumb cake. I don't want too much yellow showing, but I also want it to be a little lighter there. So, okay. Now, I'm not liking how the bronze really went away there. So I'm going to come back in with my dark crumb cake, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm just going to bring, and this one seems a little sharper than the other one, so I sort of like it a little bit better. The bronze seemed a little more blunt. Probably because it's an older brush and I've probably used it a lot more. I really want this to look like it's peeking in. Okay, now that looks a little funny, but you'll see that's gonna look better once I finish not highlighting, but just sort of giving a little shading to these edges. So I'm just going to come in here and just lightly try to follow the outline of each petal. I'm not going to cover each petal, but I definitely want to see some definition there, and I will be pulling it down. I'm trying to stay on the outside of the petal because I want it to look like a shading rather than the line of the petal, but I'm also not being terribly careful, so it's going to sort of fall where it falls, and I think it's going to be okay. This is called no line. Obviously we stamped, but and like I said, I made up the name because I don't know if people do this with blends. I know they've done it with watercoloring. But you just stamp with a lighter color so that your edges don't show that much. Now, I didn't add quite as much color there, so you can still see the edge of those petals, but you'll get the idea, I think. You see how I'm these little points that I put here, I'm actually pulling, sort of pulling those up into the petal lines that I'm creating. And I'm not worried that they're not complete. Like, it's okay if I'm missing a few spots. It just gives it a little more character, maybe. Okay. Oops, I sort of missed that one there. All right. We're almost to this other side. That's so exciting. I figured I can't take as long to do this one on camera as I did to do the first one that I did. All right, I'm going to turn that this way. I'm liking it, but it's not done yet. We haven't added enough layers yet. So I'm going to come back in with this and see. I don't want to destroy it, so I'm just going to see. It's pretty dark, so I'm going to keep that really towards the bases here. It should blend in with you can see how when I don't turn this, I get that rounded thing instead of the really jagged look that I want. Okay. Yeah, I like that. And I am going to come back in with my dark crumb cake again. I still I think I want this a little bit more filled in here. So I'm just going to come back in here and really go over this edge again. I really want that to be dark. And again, I'm going to come back with my other tip and really, I think I did a lot of this on my card, and I'm hoping that it blends in well. I don't want to see a lot of dotting, but I also want to see that sort of mottled look. So that's what I'm trying to create here by just doing a lot of dabbing. I hope I'm still with you. My computer screen went dark, but I think it's still on. Okay. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with that. All right. What do you think? Think that's enough? I still have a lot of white space, but I think I sort of like that. Now, one thing that I did at the end is I came in with the light crumb cake, and I used the brush tip, and I just created a shadow to give the flower, because I don't want to cut this out, so I created a little bit of shading, sort of as if that petal was giving a shadow there. And I'll show you my card in a second, and you'll see that it's not in any way perfect, or but if you're not looking at it to critique it, you probably won't even, you won't even notice this part. If you didn't see me do this, you probably, that one was a little bit too much there, but so I'm just trying to create a little point to the side of these so that it looks like there's a light shining and they're coming off of the page. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to show you the completed one. I am going to just go back over this a little bit. Still don't want quite that many dots showing, but I'm pretty happy with that look, I think. A little bit of yellow showing there, that's okay. That can be sort of the fuzzy center. And I might just add in this spot a few more dots, smaller dots, so that, there we go. Okay, what do you think? You think you want to try it? Let me go back and show you the finished card. Okay, so if you just look at it, you probably won't notice the little shading around it. And like I said, it is not perfect by any artistic standards at all. But if you just look at the flower, I think that it looks like it's coming off the page, and it has a lot of 3D effect to it. So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me go ahead and show you a couple other cards that I did with this set. And you'll see that I was pretty stuck on the large flower that's in the set. Whoops, that's upside down. There are two flowers here. There's a small flower, and I did do one card with that small flower, and he is adorable. I think he'll be great for on your envelope for these cards. But this one I did with blends as well, and I start out with yellow, and then I'm trying to think, I think I used Daffodil Delight, and then I came in with the matching whatever it's called. Yeah, the other red. Wow, that's my favorite color. It's the color of my bathroom, but I can't even think of it right now. But anyways, I came in with that, and I left some yellow showing, once again, just to give it that mottled look. I wanted it to be like a Shasta daisy. I did try to make the center solid, but I just didn't have anything quite dark enough to make that more solid. And then the leaves I started out with crumb cake. You'll see a little bit of crumb cake there on the edge. And then I came in with Mossy Meadow, the light and the dark, and colored those leaves in. So that's that one. And then, I'm sure I cased these from somebody. I really love this idea, and I don't remember who did it. My water wash isn't perfect. I used our new watercolor brushes, and this one has a wide brush tip to it, and I didn't get enough water on it. I should have used a watercolor paper to get that to spread better. But I also did it here with the pink. So I took our thick white cardstock and just brushed it with pink, and then I die cut it to go behind the flower here. So I really love how that turned out. And do you want to see one more? So this one I started out with yellow cardstock, as you can see around the edges. This was a little harder to do. I did the same thing that I did on that first card, but I definitely didn't like the, I didn't have enough white space on here because I used colored paper. So I definitely would start with white again to create whatever color that you want. It's still a cute card. I think the blue and the yellow go great together. This is our new Misty Moonlight paper and designer paper. So okay, I think that is it. You can get your stamps at my website if you like, stampincindy.stampinup.net, or you can go to the blog that's listed here, stampthelove.blogspot.com, and get a link to my store. Fabulous set. You will have so much fun. The sayings are nice. And don't forget your blends. If you haven't tried them yet, you really should. You can see all the samples I used here are using the a colored stamp pad. But if you want to do them in black, you can. I should probably show you one in black. But you will use the Memento pad if you're going to color with the alcohol blends. So let me just show you this card really quick. So this one I did on crumb cake. I stamped it with the Memento black pad, and then I colored it in with the Daffodil Delight light and dark markers. I think I might have even added some Mango Melody to that because I really had to add a lot of color because the background was crumb cake. And then it needed some sparkle, so I added some Wink of Stella around the centers of the flowers. So hopefully you can see that. That was a lot of coloring. All right. Okay, I am going to sign out now. I appreciate you guys coming. I hope that you will leave a comment and let me know what you think. Which card is your favorite? What colors do you like? And yeah, thanks. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.